Hi, this is part 10 of the Dancing Star animation series, and I think we should be able to finish up in this video. Click on the timeline to where you have your last set of keyframes. Mine is at 290, and then go up to Animation, click on Add Keyframe, say No, and then go to Bone and choose Freeze Pose. The next thing we're going to do is just have him bounce up and down a couple of times, and then he's going to leave the stage and we'll add the music. So go about 4 more frames past whatever your last set of keyframes was, and for me I'll go to 294, and again I'm going to go to Bone, Freeze Pose, Animation, Add Keyframe, and click No. We needed to put a very short period of time where nothing happened, where he didn't move. Now we're going to go approximately 8 or 9 frames. In the tools, click on Transform Layer, and then push the star up. Go another 8 or 9 frames, and pull the star back down. I'll go another 8 or 9 frames, push him up, and again, one last time, and push him back down. Now we'll move the arms and the legs to go with that movement. I'm going to go back to the first time that I pushed him up, and right over top of that keyframe, I'll go over here to Tools and I'll click on Manipulate Bone. When he's up, I'll push the arms down and the legs closer together, and down in the timeline, moving to that next keyframe, I'll push the arms up and the legs apart. Again, moving to the next keyframe on the timeline, arms down, legs together. And for the last one, let's go to Bone, Reset All Bones. Before we have him move off stage, this is very important, go up to Animation and click on Add Keyframe. Click on No. I'm going to go out to frame 360, quite a ways away from there. In the tools, I'll click on Transform Layer. Then I'm going to move the star off of the stage, right, beyond this box, off stage, and then also I'm going to make him very small. So pointing to a corner of his bounding box, shrink him real small. Now I'd like to play this and see how it looked. I'll just click back here a ways past that whole area that I just messed around with and push the play button. Let's put a little curve on this path, clicking here in the timeline ruler and watching the star. A couple of places I'll stop, be sure I still have transform layer, push the star up a little bit to start giving curve to that line, move a bit more and push a little bit more. So that way it won't be so straight. And I'll test again. And let me put my sky back on here. Now it's time to add the music and render out this animation. We don't want to add the music right at the start, and a good place to put it in is when he first opens up his eyes. So I'll scroll horizontally, and I need to get back to where that was, right around here. So I think as soon as he opens up his eyes big, I'm going to add the music. And you don't need to do it exactly where I do, but don't add the music from the beginning. Find some point here in the animation to put the music in. So I'm stopping at frame 192. Now, if you hadn't already collected the piece of music that you were going to use, then you'll need to pause the video and get that music now. Otherwise, the way to put the music in is over at the Layers menu, click on the New Layer icon, and choose Audio. The Select Audio dialog box pops up. This is where you need to find wherever you put your music on your computer. Mine is right here, so I click on it and then click Open. What you'll see in the timeline is the waveform for the audio file is showing up here. Prior to that, before 192 and back to 0, the timeline is discolored, showing that there's not going to be any audio playing until this point. A little housekeeping to do with this audio file. Over here in the layers, double click on the layer with that audio. This brings up the layer settings dialog. Click on this audio tab. And here, next to spatial positioning, uncheck this box and click OK. Now, if your music clip doesn't last until the end of your animation, you might be better off picking another one. And in that case, if you do choose another one, then you can just delete this one by clicking on the trash can and starting over. So let's set the end of the animation and then test render the whole thing out and see how it's looking. Click on the main star bone folder, and then you may need to scroll horizontally and click along your timeline ruler to see at what point the star leaves the stage. So mine ended at 360. You always want to give your animation a couple of seconds past the last thing that happens in the story. Okay, so in this case, my star left and was gone by frame 360. So I should add a couple of seconds more. And on the timeline here, that is to frame 408, okay? Because in these markers here, these bars, this is 24 frames between each, and the file is set at 24 frames per second, and which I can see, unfortunately, my music is going to end before the animation does. That's not so great, but for the purpose of this tutorial, I'm going to leave it be. So you need to go in here in this field. This is going to be your total number of frames. So I need to put 408 in here. Once I've done that, then I can render out my animation and see if I like it. So you click on File, Export Animation. It's okay to accept the default settings for all of this and click OK. Remember that when it's rendering, it looks very strange. Once you have a rendered animation that you're satisfied with, remember that you need to take that MP4 video, upload it to your video sharing service such as YouTube, and there are some brief instructions in the classroom that explains how to properly embed your link into the discussion forum. So if you're having any kind of difficulties or you have any questions, just email me.